Hi, I'm Chad Wienen. I am up next on Quad Radio.
It's another great day in Quad Radio USA. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quad Radio Elite here on quadradio.net. I'm Rodney Tomlin, and my guest, Big Chad Wienen, our six-time AMA Pro ATV Motocross champ. For that, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks to those folks that are helping make Quad Radio possible, like our good friends at DP Brakes, the first, the best, the leader in centered braking technology, and our good friends at All Task Construction out of Lehigh, Pennsylvania. Give them a call at 610-217-0011. They'll help you out if you're up there in that neck of the woods. Also, a special thanks to our good friends at Root River Racing. Coming soon, details on the Root River Racing Ride program, or Ride with the Root River Racing program. That is a great program they started there in 2018. It'll be continuing in the 2019 season. Looking forward to seeing that happen as well. Our good friends at 88 Live to Ride, racing toward rider safety. And also a special thanks to our good friends at Walker Fowler Racing, our four-time GNCC ATV champ. And also a special thanks to brand new sponsor, B&R Motorsports, and they're located on North Lima, Ohio, racing suspension and engines. And of course, our good friends at JSR Moto Designs. I want to say thanks to them for the new caps and t-shirts that we've got. The voice of the ATV Racing Nation. We'll have some merchandise hopefully coming out for you pretty soon. Also, JSR Moto Designs, makers of those great customizable ATV Nerf bars, as well as custom apparel. And we say hello and welcome to our guest here on Quad Radio Elite, Big Chad Wienen. Chad, good to see you out here, and Merry Christmas to you, as we're just a few days away from that, and only a few days away from a brand new year in 2019, and looking at basically the preseason. I think I like to call this right now technically the off-season. Everybody's just kind of chilling at home someplace doing something, and kind of getting themselves wound down and prepared all at the same time, and celebrate, I think, a little bit with family. What's going on with Big Chad Wienen?
Hey, thank you, Rodney. Awesome to have me on, and I'm really glad to be on, and looking for a great show tonight. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, we're a couple weeks away, and man, before you know it, it's going to be right into preseason training, and everything at home's very well. The family's doing well. Lakin, growing up so fast, and it's a good time of the year for me to really dig in with him and really enjoy and watch him grow. And where I'm not 100%, into my training at this point in time, but still just having a good time with him and enjoying the holidays.
I kind of noticed. I didn't know if it was the beard, but it looked like maybe you were enjoying the holidays, maybe the Thanksgiving feast a little bit. You're looking good though.
Yeah.
And I got to commend you, man. I contacted you yesterday to talk to you about doing the show, and you said, "Yeah, I got to do my baby feeding time at 8 o'clock. So get a hold of me at 8:05." And of course, I thought that was pretty neat. And that's one thing. Whenever I talk to Joel every once in a while, he's got a set schedule. He's got baby time during a certain schedule, and sounds like maybe you do the same thing. Your guys are really hands-on type dads.
Oh yeah, and the mothers take on so much. With Danica breastfeeding, I'm limited on what I can do, but nighttime, I'm able to give him a bottle and put him to sleep, and it's just it's like our time together. And in the mornings, I try to let Danica sleep in, a little bit, because, having to wake up and, 4 or 5 in the morning and feed him. And, I try to give her a little bit of rest as well, and keeps everybody happy. A good happy family goes a long way, and, everybody gets to rest. It really helps out. And, it's part of being a dad, and, I'm enjoying it, and I'm loving every moment of it. And, shoot, it's crazy how much he's grown, and I get to see him every day, so it's a wild experience.
That's great, man. I mean, that's awesome that you're able to be that kind of husband and that kind of father. I commend you on that. There's a lot of this generation, your generation, don't seem to to do that as much, but they're doing it. There's more of you guys that are doing it than probably in my generation, to be honest with you. It might be hence the reason that I'm a single dad. But nonetheless, I know the bond that you're talking about with your son, that time that you guys spend. It's a special time, and hopefully you guys will be able to keep that kind of bond all the way up through his childhood, adolescence, and into adulthood. I think that's going to be the case. You got something strong working there, and I think that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
And Waken's doing well. Danica, I'm sure, is doing well. She's got to be happy to have a husband like you doing that, huh?
Oh yeah, and she, with her, carrying him for 8 months, and she had a pretty active lifestyle herself, going to yoga and stuff like that, and she's been able to kind of get back into that. And I got to make sure that I allow her to have her free time as well. And I had my first 24 hours plus stint without Danica being here, so that was great. Everything went so smooth, and all bottle fed. So she was very nervous about it, and I told her to go have fun and have fun with their girlfriends. And she has so much time with him that I'm like, you need to break away just for a day or two, just to keep that sanity.
Amen, brother. I totally get it. And like I say, I commend you. I'm glad to see you guys working on that. And I think that a lot of people should take you as an example of what you're doing. And I think marriages and families will be a lot stronger. There's no doubt about that. So what you got going on for the rest of the season, or the off season, I guess I should say? Are you in Florida yet? Are you at home, or where you at?
I'm back home in Illinois, and we'll be here, till Christmas, and we'll work our way down, after Christmas time, and head back to that warmer climate, and just dig in. It's a new year, and started off clean slate, and get back to work and try to go after this championship again. And man, it's pretty wild. Just I've won 6 championships, and it's like I never quite feel like I'm satisfied. So that kind of keeps me digging and keeps me striving to achieve more. And I know I just had the never give up mentality, and I think that I just still have plenty more laps left in me. So I'm still having a great time and making a living, which is key, and loving every moment. Now I got a family that I can really enjoy these moments with, and we'll have our training down in Florida, and I'll be doing some training with some riders from Europe that are going to be flying in and doing a 5-day, training school, and pretty much like mirroring what I do every day. So that'd be really good. And, riders over there, like from us doing the Team USA last 2 years. And, it really, I think it really rejuvenated their racing, and, kind of got them to be like, hey, I want to be better. I want to be like, try to be on your guys' level one day. And we got riders coming over here wanting to, work with me for, almost a week straight and try and get on my training program and elevate their riding. So it'll be really cool. And middle of February, we'll be heading to Argentina and doing the Enduro del Verano. And that's a big beach race down there, and it's a enduro style racing right on the beach, right off the Atlantic Ocean. So that'll be really cool. And I've been down there a couple times, and that race is huge. They got over 50,000 people in attendance, so that'll probably be like the biggest crowd I've ever raced in front of. So it's 500 machines taking off at once, and it's a pretty cool event.
That right there, just the experience of that right there, win, lose, or draw. If you don't make it out, I mean, just making it a mile or a half a lap, whatever the case may be, that the experience of that start has to be just an adrenaline rush on itself.
Yeah, just watching it's adrenaline rush, and let alone I'm going to be out there in the middle of it. You know, it's going to be pretty awesome. And I got a lot of friends from Argentina that, you know, I haven't seen for a while. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to go down and do this race this year. And I'm going to go down probably about 10 to 12 days before the event and learn the track and learn that style of racing and go for it. See if we can go out there and do well. And, you know, maybe this will be a yearly thing that I try and go out and do. And I think it's a lot of fun. Just the atmosphere of the town it's around. It's everybody. You can ride your four-wheel wherever you want in the town, and everything's sand roads. So that's just like a dream spot to, you know, kind of be around and, you know, vacation and race at the same time.
Sounds like it. Sounds like an awesome time, a great experience, and I'm glad that that things are going so well for you, man. I mean, you look back on this past season. You know, I haven't had really a chance to talk to you since you won the championship, and that whole weekend, and just how crazy things went that weekend, and just I mean. And I want to look at it like this. I know at the banquet, you know, we went straight from like the video, and then they interviewed you, and I didn't get a chance to actually talk to you about this. But night before the race, Friday night, I was out on the start, or out on the track. I was doing something probably with the sound or something. But I remember I was coming back, and I looked up in the Fox box there, that one tower. And something that's, I mean, I see you do oftentimes is with your headphones on and, you know, and kind of in a psych mode. I've never really seen you necessarily on a Friday night that intense, but you were standing up there, and it was the funniest thing. I just sat there and I watched, and I was like, man, here he is. He's what were you, like 10, 11 points out of the championship at this particular point, I think it was.
Yeah.
I said to myself, that guy right there, man, he really believes this is possible. I said, you know, the odds are stacked against him. And I kind of got this goosebump feeling, you know. I'm not going to say that I was like, Chad's going to win it or anything like that. But I had the energy that you was just putting off, man. I mean, it was just amazing. And you just kind of like were scanning the track, and you were looking at the start, and the intensity at which you were looking at it was just overwhelming to me. And you know, it was something that I wish that I could have been able to have captured on video, in a picture or something. I mean, the sun was setting. I mean, there were so many different elements about that evening that made it so cool for me, and to see that. And that struck so deep into me. And I'll be honest with you, when that race took off, in the back of my head, announcing this race, I knew something was up. There was something totally different about that race, about the start of that race, those first few laps. Something had to be up in the air, and I didn't know what it was. The quad gods, fate, you know, your will, your determination, Joel's bad luck. I don't know what it was, but man, everything just came together there, and it was so cool. And I thought, wow, man, I mean, this man actually willed himself a championship is the way that I looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you just exactly like you told it. And, you know, leaving Redbud, I was pretty bummed on I felt like I had to pretty much go from Redbud. I had to win out. Every single moto, and I went into Redbud. I'm like, I am going to win every single moto and win this thing outright. And man, after leaving Redbud, I was so frustrated, you know, mainly with Joel. But, you know, it's racing, you know, and we were racing in the mud, and he spun me out, and I wasn't happy about it. So I was like, man, so I went home and I worked as hard as I could. And heat training, you name it, I did it. And, you know, I'm sure Joel was kind of he's like, he had a 10-point cushion, you know, he could only go out and hurt himself. So, I mean, obviously I can't speak for him, but I'm sure his training wasn't quite what it was like the weekend before. But, yeah, going into Loretta's, and man, I I never quit believing. And, you know, I knew it was a long shot, but I never was like, you know, it's done. I knew that there was a lot of racing left, and first on the sight lap, we went out on that track, and I was so mad. They pushed all this mud on the track, and I was just furious. And I'm like, the track was like, I took a scan of the track, like probably 4 motos before that, and track was looking good. Like lines were starting to come in, the slop was starting to get dried up, and we go out there and there's mud on the track, and I'm like, man, like what is going on? So, obviously I think that could have played into, what happened, but man, I just, once I got a bad hole shot and I saw that, Joel, Thomas, a lot of these front runners were back there with me, and I'm like, well, here we go. There's a lot of things that can happen. And, I got to the front first, and honestly, I ran that whole race not knowing what, I was trying to see where Joel was, but I didn't see him forever. I didn't see him along the track. I was so focused on what I was doing and what I had to do. I had to go out and win and see where the cards fell, and I did. And I came off the track, and Mikey came up to me. He's like, dude, Joel got he was way back. And I'm like, no way. What happened? And he's like, man, his quad stopped, and they came over and put a chain on. I'm like, no way. So I go back to the truck, go sit in some ice and cool off and get ready for next moto. And that whole however long it is between motos, like an hour and some change, I never quit shaking. I was shaking like just out of nerves, just holy cow, like what a change of events. And now I get to go out and race and have a padding and, do what I got to do. I got to get third or better. And, if Joel wins. So I was like, all right, let's go. And came on the start. Man, my starts were pretty bad that weekend, but, I was able to work my way up to the front pretty quickly and rode third the whole race. And I still couldn't believe it when I pulled off the track that I pulled off the championship and we won it. And, still now I have to actually really, really think about it to actually believe it. It's just such a shocking moment to me. And, it just was something that was not expected. And it's a great thing in sports that you never know what can happen.
That's the truth. And I mean, talk about, inspiration for the future. If you were beginning, and I'm not saying you were, but if a person were to begin to start to wane in that department a little bit, that right there has to be an igniter that just, that's like blast off, man. To look into 2019, you're like, dude, there ain't nothing going to stop me now. That's the feeling that you have to have right now.
Yeah, it's a strong feeling, just, and then you go over to Europe, and I went over there and I just rode so well there and won every moto I was in. And I know it's a whole stack of pancakes right there, but just the high of coming off of, winning a championship last round. It's like, wow, anything can happen. And actually there was Jeremiah Jones. It was last year in 2017. He came up to me, and, I didn't win the championship in 17, but he came up to me. He's like, there's several years ago when Gary Denton went down to Loretta's the last race, and I think he was down like 15 points or 11 points or something like that, and he ended up winning the championship. And once I heard that from Jeremiah, I'm like, man, anything can happen, and you never quit believing in what you can do.
That's the truth. And that's the one thing. You never give up until the very end. It's not over till it's over. And that's the mystique and the beauty, I think, of Loretta Lynn's, man. That place seems to have that aura about it as well. It's crazy down there. You've seen it yourself. I'm sure.
Yeah. And man, just riding my Yamaha. That machine, I've been on it, and I've had 0 DNF since I've been riding that machine. And I'm a true believer in it. And wow, like
That's
I 100% believe in that machine to get me across the finish line every time.
That says a lot about a product, dude. I'm hands down. Says a lot about a product. Says a lot about your program and your race prep and everything about it. I mean, there's just so many things that it says, and my tip of the hat to you and Yamaha and everything that you guys got going on over there, dude. You brought up something. I almost forgot all about this. What was the Italian's name? I forget. The gentleman that
I don't recall his
accidentally
name.
Hit you.
Yeah, I don't recall his name. Kevin got pretty worked up about it, but man, that guy, he came up to me and you could tell in his voice that he had sincere apologies and was not intentional. And obviously watching.
I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to go back. I've watched that video time and time and time again, and I'm not going. I mean, I honestly, I wasn't in the guy's head, but it looks so intentional. I mean, it does look very intentional. It honestly does, and I'm not trying to stir stink or anything like that, but poor old guy, man, he was texting me and messaging me, and I told him, I said, just let it go, man. He said he was getting all kinds of threats. I mean, people were inboxing him, and they were just, they were tore up about it, and obviously, whether it was on purpose or not, he regretted it, I think, instantly. We make mistakes, man, and I get it. I totally get it. That's definitely not one claim to fame that you want to have by no stretch of the imagination, but nonetheless, that was what went through your mind. I mean, come on, dude. Tell me the truth. When you're riding on the track, this guy just comes out of nowhere. He's looking for you when you're coming over that jump. You didn't see that part of it, but he's looking for you. And when you get there, he turns right smack dab into you. I mean, what went through your mind when that happened?
Well, I mean, he knew that I was there like 2 corners before that, and I tried to change up different lines to try and get around him, so I lost a little bit of time, to get up right behind him to make a pass. And we came over that jump there, and man, like we drag race down into that corner, and he finally looks over at me, and I'm like, all right, he's surrendering. He sees me, there, and yeah, we were 2 laps from the end, so I was taking like some very shallow lines that there wasn't very many of them, and you had to go really slow if you were going to hit those lines because they weren't very fast. And we kind of crisscrossed, and man, I don't think he quite understood how tight of a line I was taking, and he accelerated to go around the outside, and I think just tagged back me. But man, like, yeah, I mean, I honestly, I was shocked when it happened. So I was like, okay, well, what was that? And, after watching it, I'm like, man, it looks about as blatant as it can be. But, I mean, who knows? He's riding it.
Yeah, I appreciate your sportsmanship and not trying to stir the pot. And you're right. I mean, that right there, I mean, he may have not really – I mean, it may have been a blind spot. I mean, really, I wasn't there. I wasn't in his head. I didn't see what he saw. And, again, even if it was intentional, we make mistakes, and nothing hurt. A lot of good laughs out of it for me and several other people, like a little blood pressure problem for Kevin Bailey.
I've gotten asked more questions about that than winning the race.
Well, congratulations to you, by the way, on being a world champion, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to some futuristic things. And thanks, dude. Thanks for everything. And yes, just pointing out, Chad, you are a man of many hats. There's no doubt. You've been putting those different hats on tonight. You're a great husband, a great dad, a great racer, a mentor, a leader, a champion, a racer, a competitor, a sportsman. I mean, there's just so many things that describe you, and you're a proponent of something really cool. coming up here in the future. And you're a business owner too with Wienen Motorsports. I mean, that's pretty cool. Now, how do you get one of those hats? I mean, is that something that you're selling, or is that? I mean, what about the T-shirts, man? I mean, how do people get that kind of stuff?
Well, just check out wienenmotorsports.com, and also our Instagram. I mean, a lot of swipe up. Go directly to our website, and there's everything on there. Everything that we run on our machines, and there's so many opportunities there for riders to get into the best possible products that I trust, and it's a straight line to winning championships. So check them out, and wienenmotorsports.com.
Straight line to winning championships. I like that tagline, man. Did you come up with that?
I just did right now.
Well, you need to brand that. You need to trademark that, whatever, man. That's what we're going to run with in the future. But that's pretty cool. And speaking of the future, at the ATV banquet, we always have a rules thing, and there were some things brought up, and there's some new things on the table. I have some questions. There were some questions that I have online, and one of them did pertain to that particular thing. Let me see if I can pull these up, but let's talk a little bit about the production classes. We've got pro production classes, and then we got amateur production classes, where you guys are coming up with some ideas that are going to kind of hopefully make it more affordable for the average person and newcomer to come into the sport and be competitive, and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, our main goal, there's many goals with this class, is, obviously the budget racing, and for somebody to be able to buy a machine off the showroom floor and realistically only have to put Nerf bars on it and a kill switch, you can go race. So, I mean, obviously there's more that you can do to it, but it's very, very limited, what modifications you can make to the machine, and, let alone it's not just, the current Yamaha production machine. It's all production machines that have been made. So if you can find Suzukis, you can find Kawis, you can find Hondas, KTM, Polaris, whatever, bring it to the track, and
Can-Am.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
We just want to be able to, obviously if you show up to a race with a stock machine and race it against these, modified machines, you're not going to have a lot of fun. And obviously riding a class that is going to be dedicated to that, and you can go out and compete. And we've had really good feedback from ex-pro riders, and, some pros that are starting to step out the door. They're like, man, yes, I can do that. I can afford that. So I think that's going to be a big boost, and, riders that just like to go out and enjoy racing, and, they can have a competitive class to race in. And also we're trying to get the manufacturers into it. And, obviously Yamaha is the current only manufacturer in it, and the brand margins are, leaning towards Honda at our races. So obviously Honda, they're not selling Hondas right now. They're just selling parts. So we would like to see people buy Yamahas, but to see the brand movement to go to Yamaha to show Honda, Suzuki, Can-Am that, wow, Yamaha is actually doing quite well with selling machines now, and be like, because they all keep track of each other on what is sold, and they keep tabs on each other. So we just want to see that movement being made, and see if that strikes up other Japanese manufacturers, or the Can-Ams and stuff like that. So that's our idea to try and make this happen. We don't know if it's going to work, but this is our best one yet that we feel that can work.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard all ends of it, man, and I can't disagree with some ends of it. The argument of the aftermarket companies that kept the business alive during the bad times back before the manufacturers got back into it. And I know that, you know, companies even like Mikey Walsh, you know, I mean, even they suffer, you know, these days because of the expense that it takes to run and build these quads. And there's not a lot of people that can afford to be into it anymore. And you know, I get it. But at the same time, if we don't have, I think, that manufacturer support, I think the racing is not going to be as, I don't know, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Either way it goes, I can see both sides of it. But I like this idea. I think it's something that is definitely a viable solution. I think that if folks step up and do exactly what you're saying, and I have absolutely nothing against the Honda brand, Suzuki's, or any of the others, I just would hope that they would say, hey, you know, even if they just started reproducing what they had in the past and didn't even update anything at this particular point, maybe put an electronic fuel injection on it or something like that. That would be a step forward. You know, make just minimal amount, just get them back out on the floor, offer some contingency. That's a step in the right direction. And I honestly believe that you guys have a good idea in achieving something like that. And I hope that I'm right like you, and I hope that you guys are right about it as well.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and, you know, obviously we want to attract the new customers that are wanting to try ATV racing and not have to go out and spend this outrageous amount of money just to get started. It's hard to try something when you have a big budget you have to go in with. And yeah, so obviously with the aftermarkets, yes, this isn't exactly a class for them, but I mean, a racer, you know, how many people actually keep their machine stock after they buy them? You usually want to start stepping up and modifying stuff, so it's a stepping stone into the aftermarket.
It's an entry level place. You know, I mean, right now it's a great idea because if you think about it, we don't have a true manufacturer youth entry level. I mean, we got some DRRs and, you know, Cobra modifications and this, that, and the other. And yeah, we got, you know, I don't know if the Yamaha's still making the Raptor 125, but still it's not a 50 or a 70 or 90 or whatever. But you get what I'm saying. Saying.
And, you know, to touch on that, Rodney, our goal is to bring a 90 production stock class in with this as well.
Awesome.
So have your TRX 90s, Raptor 90s. I think Polaris, I don't know if they still make theirs. They're 90, but yeah, 4-stroke 90s. We're pushing to have that being brought in for a stepping stone for kids to be able to get into this and have that smaller budget to be able to get started.
See what I said about those hats you wear, man? I mean, now you're a political guy and a forward thinker and a guy that's thinking about the future of our sport. And that's great, man. I mean, it benefits you in a lot of different ways, too. Okay, let's get to some questions that we have from the viewers because we've been on here a while, and I know you've got things you got to do and everything. Okay, Brandon Hogue has a question. We'll talk a little bit about that. I got in a moment. Let's talk. Don Hewitt says, if the Pro Stock class is successful and they continue to have both Pro classes, would he like to see the production rule lifted in the normal Pro class? So if and when the OEMs start taking interest again, development of the machines can be pushed from within our industry as an example to the OEMs of where we'd like to see the production machines go. Did you quite follow that?
So I'm guessing he would like to see the production rule raised on the current Pro class. I mean, if everything goes well, I mean, it's hard saying because we've had this production class, not the production stock, but the production Pro, where we are currently racing. And I think that the production stock class should actually push the actual manufacturers into making their machines better from that class.
Yes. So basically, what your answer would be is that you would, because the question that I get is, if so he started taking interest in the machine. Would he like to see the production rule lifted in the normal Pro class so So the answer would be no. You wouldn't want to see the production rule lifted in the pro class.
No, I mean, just because they feed off each other. So you have the pro stock class is actually us trying to showcase the class to amateurs to be like, hey, you can take this stock machine, you can go on the racetrack and put a kill switch and Nerf bars on it and go race it. That's why we're out here pushing this class. It's not because like for us to race it anymore, but like for us to push that stock class.
Gotcha.
For the amateur riders.
That, very well explained, Chad. Very well explained. Olivia Saya wants to know, says, please ask him the following. She's got a list of questions here. Question 1, where do you think that the future of the race quad industry is going?
Well, right now, I mean, it's at a pretty steady line of just flat line right now, just being that it's not making any moves any better, any worse. But hopefully this is our bottom point to where we were back in the 90s. And hopefully this is us going to start to push our way back up to, hopefully, I mean, I'm going to be probably out of the sport by then, but hopefully these riders that are coming up will have factory rides like I used to have and, the current factory ride that I have with Yamaha. So, I mean, that's where I hopefully foresee this, going. I mean, I wish I could tell the future, but that's where I want it to go.
And I think we kind of answered this question of hers. She says, Oliver, I guess, Oliver Sayer, I'm sorry, he says, what needs to change to get the rest of the industry back into sport quads? I think we've kind of explained that with the production class that we're talking about there. He says, thank Yamaha for continuing to support the sport of quads and racing. And his question last is, what do you think of the proposed new ATVMX rules about stock production class? I think we've already discussed that. We've already pretty much answered those questions as well, Oliver. Kyle Fishburne wants to know, with 2 visits to the Ironman for 2019 season and it being one of Hetrick's stronger tracks, what's your plan to combat Hetrick's success at this track? And I will tell you, I was down there for the Ironman GNCC. That whole first turn and a good portion of that part of the racetrack is changing quite a bit. So I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Will be different when you guys go.
Yeah, I mean that track. It's a high flying track, and you got to be like Joel is super light compared to what I am. He flies so well, and I think I just got to obviously get some good starts to start out in front. I've actually passed Joel there in one moto. I have one moto on him, and I passed him straight up and won. But so far Joel's owned that track over me, and I gotta obviously find some extra gear and maybe a little good luck on my end to actually make it happen. But yeah, I mean, that track's eluded me. It's a Midwest track, so I feel like I should be a strong one there. But, Joel is starting to get really good at, riding the tracks that I'm usually pretty good at. And that's a hard pack track there at times. Last year it definitely was. It got pretty slick. But, yeah, I mean, every year's a new year and every race is a new race. So we're going to try and go out and see what we can do. And when we're there, so that'll be in front of the Dirt Bike MX crowd, so that'll be a different vibe as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that will be pretty interesting. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking, but we'll anyway. Hopefully, you guys put down a pretty good lap time for those guys. It's pretty comparable. I know it's hard to, compare apples to oranges and things like that, but I like that color too, right there in that one. Mark Harrop has a question here, Chad. This is one that is close to my heart right here. Oh, you can get those at Wienen Motorsports too, huh?
Fresh shipment from Tire Balls. Huge shout out to Mark.
Very nice, very nice. Would you consider, and Mark Harrop wants to know, would you consider doing some GNCC races like Hetrick did?
2014, I did the Ironman.
Right.
But I haven't done one since. I've really, I mean, every year Ironman comes around, but we have this huge Halloween parade that is in my hometown, same day. And my wife just loves it, and I love it too. And it's a good way for me to get back to my community. And, you know, I get to take my race machine down Main Street, Galena, with, I think we had over 15,000 people in attendance this year. So it's a huge event for us. And, you know, if it was not on the same day, I would definitely be at that event because I had so much fun there in 2014.
Yeah, I mean, I get the season and obviously championship threat and stuff like that. You don't want to do too much out of the realm and stuff, but there are other cool places that you can come race.
Yeah,
GNC.
That's the closest one. That's 5 hours. So.
What about Florida? You got the Daytona Supercross like 2 days later or something like that. Don't you?
Rodney, how about this? We get some of those GNCC guys. How many of them have come over and raced with us? We need some of them to get over here and race with us then, since all us MX guys have actually done some.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I think Walker could do it. I think that actually I think there's a number of them that could probably
stock production class.
Not the production class.
No, the stock production class.
Oh, race the stock production class.
Yeah.
No, that would be a grand idea. I don't know. We'll start poking a bear. How's that sound?
Let's do that, Rodney.
All right.
But yes, if anything does change, you know, obviously I'd love to do another GNCC, and you know, I'm not gonna count it out ever in the future because you know I had a very good time doing that, and I've, you know, with Johnny and Borich and, you know, those guys, I get along really well with them and train with them in the winter, and they helped me out a lot to get a machine together, and it was a lot of fun. It's totally different racing than moto.
All right, envision this. How about flat track, TT? How do you do it, TT?
I've never done it before.
Would it be something you'd be interested in trying?
I would. If, for me, it's kind of like, you know, I hate to travel away from home unless I have to.
Right. Well, I'm thinking something Midwest here. I'm thinking a grand weekend event, a quad radio four-wheel extravaganza weekend where we have a Friday night TT, a Saturday ATV supercross, motocross type ordeal, and a Sunday cross-country event, where we have one weekend and we have like a triple crown, and we tally up all the points at the end of it, have an overall, like an Olympic champion, kind of like what the Olympics has been. But I think we need to move it more Midwest type thing, maybe, or Southwest or something like, you know.
Centrally.
Yeah. Central. That way we can invite everybody from across the nation, bring it down. I mean, heck, man, I don't know. I'm thinking I've got some ideas brewing up here, so don't nobody steal this idea from me, because I really like what I got.
Steal it up, Rodney. But you know, it'd be really cool if you did all three of those events in the same machine and you just changed tires.
Oh, very interesting idea.
So you could, you know, you could go in there with a couple different setups, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like say a GNCC guy, I mean, you know, can't quite go to a moto setup, and, you know, I can't go to a GNCC setup, you know, from a moto, or just so it's an even playing field.
And then the TT thing, though, man, that would get a little bit scary. You'd almost have to figure out something there. You'd have to.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously change tires, but I mean, you can run. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of chassis roll, but you can try and stiffen your stuff up as much as you can, and, you know, run some lower pressure.
It does sound like a load of fun. Chad, we'll have to talk about that, and that's pretty good. But I just want to thank you for your time. I enjoy the conversation that we had tonight. It's been enjoyable, some enlightening things. Good to see you in such great spirits, and things going so well here. And congratulations again, man. I mean, that 6th championship, you deserved it. There's no doubt. Not taking anything away from Joel, not taking any away from anybody that did anything. But, I mean, everybody worked so hard, and you deserve what you got there, man. There's no doubt about it. And I'm proud of what you were able to achieve, and one step closer to being that number 9 maybe someday like Gary Denton.
Oh, man. yeah, Gary is a milestone in itself right there. But I'm gonna keep plugging away, not trying to beat his tally. Just try to keep doing the best that I can and keep enjoying racing my four-wheeler. And yeah, I mean, looking forward to the 19 season, Rodney, and looking forward to a couple of these, maybe getting some of these other riders to get up here and mix it up with Joel and myself. Thomas had some good rounds this year, Jeffrey, and let's see like Janusa and some other riders really start to plug away. Wesley Wolf had a good showing the final round of the year, and hopefully we can get those riders up there and all these rookies. I know what it was like for me for a rookie, and that 1 year I trained my butt off all year long and came out swinging, and bam, like a couple rounds in, I had a factory ride. So I mean, you can work your butt off to get your accomplishments, and hopefully we see some guys do that this year.
That's for sure. Chad, keep living out your dreams, brother.
Thanks, Rodney.
That's Chad Wienen. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio Elite.